All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a late afternoon. Turn off this copyrighted music. It is 5:55 p.m. We leave for our flight in 30 minutes. I just want to take a quick moment to apologize at the very beginning of this video for the lack of content and me myself just being almost MIA from social media. So my grandfather passed away this last week. I've had several different travels for work. We went to Dallas for my grandfather's funeral. But besides all of that, it's been a really crazy few weeks, and I do apologize for me being MIA, but we are getting back to the content. We're actually heading out to Utah. We're going to film a fun one for you guys here in the next few days. But enjoy this video. Traveling's fun, especially with a 1-year-old. So much fun. More of a current issue, we are at Wendy's.
Hi, welcome to Wendy's.
Wendy's coming in clutch. They have the 4 for $5 here, which is, I think, is a 4 for $4 or a 5 for $5 on mainland, but Hawaii is more expensive. Everything. Wendy's coming in clutch! Once again. So we now have 12 minutes till we head to the airport, so I gotta hurry up, close this out, and eat some dinner. Closing this portion out before I send you off to the other clip, the reason we were in Dallas, my grandfather did pass away. My kupuna, he passed away last week Tuesday. His funeral services were last week Saturday, and had a really special moment there in Texas, which you'll see here in just a moment. Before I send you off that way, I've really debated in my head whether I'm even gonna make a video out of this. You know, I like my channel to be, uplifting, positive, good things, but it was a really special moment. It's things you're gonna see on the channel in the near future. So I figure, give you guys a life update. So before I send you off that way, I'm gonna head inside. Aloha, we'll see you guys in Utah, in a sense. We're gonna make a fun video out there. But until then, enjoy the other clip, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, so I know the #1 question ever asked in the history of humanity is, does Colton Brockbank actually work out? Here is proof. Texas heat, Texas sun. He in fact works out. At least once in a decade I'll do it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it all started. Welcome to North Texas. This beautiful 1999 Silverado. I apologize, the video is going to be a little shaky today because we are in fact on an iPad. But here's this beautiful 99 Silverado Z71. It's been repainted probably 3 times now. But this is where it all started. I drove this through high school, and it's still alive today. Probably got about 250,000 miles by now. I don't know how many sets of tires it's gone through. My dad looks like he went the cheapest option. We got some all-terrain Pathfinder. I don't know if that's from Firestone or what, but not my first choice, but that'll work. This good old Hawaiian style sticker I stuck on here in high school, that's at least 10 years old. Breaking apart there. Good old Texas Hawaiian. And this beautiful paint job that's on its way out. But come check out this other side. We call this patina. And my wife. Now we're gonna take a moment and meet the dogs of North Texas. Meet Holly Girl. Holly Girl, how old are you now? That's a good girl. And then these two, we got Rex, who's a Labradane, I believe, because you're a frickin' horse. And we have Zoe, who is a 100% purebred Labrador, who has by chance been inbred a few times because she's not the smartest. You're not the smartest thing in the world, are you? That's okay. You're a good girl. And if you're curious if tropical banana trees actually grow in Texas, well, there you go. My dad planted these back when I was in high school. Every single winter you chop them down and cover them up, and then every single summer they come back bigger. These things are nuts. And it looks like the dogs have made a little forest out of them too. Look at that. But look how many banana trees there are. That is crazy. This started out as 3 banana trees. And then 10 years later. Wow. Oh, it's good to be home. Rex, you're a freaking giant, dude. You're a big dog. Well, the reason we're actually here is more of a serious note, kind of more of a solemn topic. In all transparency, I did get a call this last week. Unfortunately, my grandfather did pass away. So that was Tuesday I got the call. Tuesday night we booked tickets back to Dallas. We flew in Friday night after work. Saturday morning we did have the services. It's good to be back home. To be honest, it's great to be back home. Unfortunately, it took a situation like this to in fact make a trip back home. This is where I grew up. We're in McKinney, Texas, about an hour north of Dallas. Sitting in the back of my truck I had in high school. It's a 99 Silverado Z71 four-wheel drive. I don't even know if the four-wheel drive works, but it had it at one point. It's got about 250,000 miles now. It's running strong, just like a good old Chevy. But we're back at home. Here's the garage where I started turning wrenches, learning about cars. Actually, I think I have my 350 motor in here somewhere. I pulled out of a Corvette. We'll go look for that in a second. But I've been MIA a little bit, both on social media and on YouTube. It has many videos in the last few weeks. This is part of the reason. So it's been a roller coaster of the last, say, 2 weeks. So I spent some time on Big Island. We had a new store open up, so I had From there, we flew back to Oahu, and then the next few days we flew off to Maui. And a real highlight experience from Maui, we went up to Haleakala. Now Haleakala is extremely high up in elevation, about 11,000 feet up, a phenomenal sunrise. It took about an hour and a half to drive out to the top, hike to the very summit, and check out this video here because I'm going to show you exactly what the sunrise was like. Now keep in mind that this sunrise happened 3 days after I got the call about my grandfather. Donald Kalealoha na Ho'oleva, born and raised Honolulu, Hawaii, joined the Air Force at the age of 18, spent 20 years in the military, retired military, retired in Fort Worth, Texas, and essentially that's where I grew up. And this whole channel, the LONESTAR Hawaiian, where the LONESTAR Hawaiian comes from, I am in fact from Texas. I grew up in Texas. This is home. Now, obviously, bloodline-wise, my roots do lie on the islands. Holding the Naho'oleva last name, that's, believe it or not, Hawaiian. It's not a very common last name for Texas. But at the end of the day, this feels like home. This is great to be back. It's got some beautiful fall weather. It's 75 degrees out. Beautiful Texas skies. I really miss this a lot. I know this is not automotive related at all, but I wanted to give you guys an update to say kind of where I have been. I have been MIA. I do apologize. We're going to get back to the content once we get back home, but I wanted to get out here and just kind of give you a quick update of where we're at. Now, since we are here, transferring from that solemn note to more of a uplifting and positive manner, which I do enjoy bringing the channel positive things. I hate negativity. I think it's a bunch of bull. I think there are times for accountability, but I don't believe negativity should ever be involved in any of that. So here we have a 1999, man, that is really bright, 1999 Chevrolet Silverado Z71. I love this truck to death. It's on its second paint job. I did paint it when I was home for college during a summer. And as you can see, I got a lot to learn. I didn't do a very good job. So I did paint it properly in a sense. Real spray gun, real paint, real clear coat on top, but I did paint it in that garage. And unfortunately with the ventilation and how the paint stuck, it didn't stick very well. The clear coat, when I sprayed it, that first coat went on really good. But what happened after that first coat, all the residual spray just floated around in the air in the garage. I couldn't ventilate it out, so it just stuck to the paint. And you know, I did the best I could. Again, this is the first time I tried physically painting a whole vehicle, and we'll give it a subpar. We'll say a C+ on this. Some of you will give it a D because this is about 4 years old on a paint job and it's already flaking off. I did a terrible job. Great learning process though. Again, this has got the 5.3 liter V8 engine. It's got 250,000 miles on it, still running strong. My dad did go through a transmission. Not the truck's fault. He was towing way too much for way too long. He lost, I believe, 5th gear, or lost overdrive, lost 4th gear, lost 3rd gear, lost 2nd gear, and drove the last hour home in 1st gear. He made it home, had the transmission rebuilt, and it's running strong once again. The truck itself has kind of a mixed body chassis lift. It's kind of strange. Some of you with the older Silverado generations will understand this. Basically how this is working under here. So, it being 4-wheel drive, the torsion bars are torqued all the way up. So essentially this front end will lift, let's say about 1 inch to 2 inches. On top of that, it does have a body lift, which is that spacer there on the body, 2 inches. So between that and the torsion, you call it, say, a 4-inch lift. Kind of a real cheap way to go. I personally would not do this if I did own the truck. But, you know, 250,000 miles down the road, it's still running strong. And my dad still has it, even though I ruined the paint. So that's my truck. This is where it all started. So this is my first truck. I drove it through high school. Had a great time. Hawaiian style sticker on the back there. Got the good old Texas poly emblem there. Got a Polynesian design. Oh, hey, still got my reef sticker. So my freshman year of college, I brought this back home and stuck this on here. Can't believe all the islands are stuck on there still. That's awesome. So that's still there. It's debadged. I debadged it when I painted it, but it's seen its better days. Now, something really special did happen in this last week I was here. My dad showed me my grandfather's will. So it was handwritten, a handwritten will giving away, you know, some of his possessions. Now, my grandfather was kind enough to leave me his toolbox. Now, for a lot of you, that's probably just, you know, miscellaneous thing, just another box to hold your tools. It really doesn't mean much. It probably costs a few $100s. It's really not that big of a deal. But to me, it means more than anything in the world right now. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. We actually just unloaded it from the truck, and here it is in the garage. So here we have it. And again, it might not seem a lot to most people, but this toolbox means a lot. It's indescribable. I don't have words to describe how much these tools mean to me right now. So this is something I will never sell or do anything to get rid of by any means forever. These tools are all original. It's something special just to open this up and see these old screwdrivers that are literally older than I am. My grandfather was extremely gifted with his hands. He had a knack for building things, rigging things up. He worked on cars. I have several memories of pulling engines out in his shed in Fort Worth using some of these tools. And for the rest of my life, I'm gonna have a piece of him with me because I have what he worked with so often, which are these tools in this, call it a silly toolbox. Those of you that work on your own car, those of you that work on your own house, do woodwork, whatever it is, tools mean a lot. It's not just a piece of equipment that costs a lot, but it's something else, especially when it's generations old. These will be handed down to my son. I really cross my fingers and pray that he'll be in the cars like I am, because it'll make it a lot easier to continue spending money on them with permission from my wife. But these will stay in my family for generations, I promise you that. So here we are again, North Texas. Extremely happy to be back. Until next time, until we're back in Hawaii doing other things, thank you so much for tuning in with me. Aloha, and we'll see you next time.